Hey folks. Turn off. How can we see? Everything's good. Right, okay. Let's just mess around with the camera settings. That's what we normally do. Low light compensation off, apply, and go. How are we doing? All good? 2 thumbs good. Excellent. Right. What have I been doing? I have been doing stuff and things with knights and whatnot. I suppose if you really want to know what I've been up to, I've been posting on Instagram. This is what is currently on the hobby desk, but not for tonight. This is got this off from Morton Joe actually. It's a repaint job. That'll be one of my projects over the next couple of days. So I think he's looking quite cool. That's all freehand. Yeah, I'm not very good at freehand, but he's keeping me busy. So, what we're going to do tonight? We are going to do
tips for the tip jar. Rock on gesture. Rock on gesture. Rock on gesture. Rock on gesture. Thumbs up.
That's a lot of rock on gestures and a thumbs up. Thank you, Vic. Very nice of you. Thank you. Oh yeah, AdMech. I'm going to be painting this dude. Who just needs a little bit of finishing off with a bit of dry brushing with white over that, and then we can actually get to painting him. And we're going to be painting him in Forge World Metalica colours, like so, and also like so, which is a lot easier than it looks. I shall demonstrate. What I do need to find though, possibly, is... I've got a cat and hell's chance of finding that. That's well and truly... Yep, no, that's gone. So maybe I won't be using... Oh, hang on. Oh, stand by your beds. Oh. Yes, Cinderella can go to the ball. Excellent. Oil paints. Yeah. What am I missing? I'm missing the colour. 2 colours. I've got ivory black. I've got burnt umber. I've got burnt senna. Nothing I need, so we're all right. We're all right. Okie dokie then. Rifles. Oh gosh, yes, I left the rank and file in the other room. Yeah, all my rifles look like that. If you've not got some, what's it called? Tesseract glow. That's that. Tesseract glow. Amazing stuff. Galvanic rifles. Not galvanic rifles. Can't remember what they're called. Radium guns or something. So where am I going to... Oh yes. We're going to get dry brushing. That one maybe? No. That's a nice soft one. It's not something you hear often. So there's the brush, which is a makeup brush. And I need to find my paint, which is, where did I put it? There's that. Use that as a palette. And we are going to, I'll put it down somewhere. I moved it and now I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it right now. So. Titanium white paint. Like so. Regular artist paint this. an awful lot. I think this was what, $6.99 or something like that. Yeah, an awful lot of paint in there. I probably won't need to replace that like ever. Radium carbines, thank you. So that goes in there. It's quite a thick paint. Goes over the texture palette like so. Get the most of it off. We're just going top down with this, concentrating on where the light would be coming from. I'm sure you guys know the song already. Or if you don't, what we're doing here is building up light values so that when we go over with contrast paint. Now this isn't going to be purely slap chop, although it's going to look like it to start with, but we're going to push it beyond slap chop. As you may or may not know, slap chop as it has come to be known, is a very old technique called grisaille. And has been around since the Middle Ages. And was a technique used by artists back then because pigments were really, really expensive, so they do as much as they could in tones of grayscale, hence grisaille, and then they would go over that with pigmented ink, and you would end up with light and shade values. So slap chop, quote unquote, is not a new and clever technique. It is a repurposing of a very old clever technique. We're doing just this for speed. We can actually go in and get a thin brush and go in with our white paint and actually build up texture and such. So we want to add a little extra texture on the hood, maybe. Just go in and a few spots down. Which actually does work for the Grimdark technique. And as the main colour of the Metalica Forge World with one L, because we don't want to get sued by the band, is white. So we want to build these values quite high, even though we're going to be dirtying the heck out of it. So we just put spots and blotches around, which will sell as grime and help drive up the contrast. So I mean, it's not slap chop. I'd be knee deep in contrast paint by now if it was slap chop. So we're just adding a little bit of extra texture, highlight and interest. before going in with the contrast. I want those lenses under the hood nice and bright, but I want everything else in quite deep shadow. Well, the easy way to find out is I don't know of any paint, at least in the Games Workshop range, that tastes of Nutella, so if you want a quick way of finding out, coward. Most paints formulated for hobby, there's nothing particularly toxic that you need to worry about ingesting. Not that I'd suggest drinking the paints, but voiding your brush in your mouth. Some people object to it because they say it's quote unquote disgusting, but it's quite quick. Does the job very well. Two types of people in the hobby. There are people who void their brush in that way, and then there are liars. There we go. See, Mick knows. Mick knows. Right. So I'm just going through picking out the odd cable here and there. Looks like we've got some glass work up here as well, so that'll be interesting to do. I don't think I've done glass work on this channel before. So I'll pick up the pace a little bit so we can actually get to that, because it's interesting. A few extra bits of detail to pick out. A bit of extreme highlighting. Right, okay. Sub-assembly has its place. Magnetizing certainly has its place. I'm considering magnetizing the gun on this one so that you can hot swap between the where did I put it? But it's don't know where I put it. It's somewhere. He's got two gun options anyway. He's got the oh, there we are. The super exciting sci-fi beam gun thing there and the super exciting death ray thing there. I can't remember what they're called. But anyway, he's got two of those. And I'm going to be going with that one. But that one is also quite fun. But that one's quite good. But that one also. And that, I'm going to use that in a conversion, I think. Some lovely bits for conversions on that on this sprue, and also the Cataphren sprues are just riddled with conversion bits. They're brilliant. Oh, so Sarcastic Monkey, if you haven't got any Cataphrens, get some. There's a lot of fun to be had. Right, okay, I am going to just make sure the nope. Okay. Aha, there we are. Right, so I'm just going to make sure everything's dry. Apologises if this is really loud. This is one concession I make to doing things on live stream. I wouldn't normally do this. I'd just leave this to dry for a couple of hours. But with you lot watching, I haven't got a couple of hours. But if I waited for a couple of hours, the stream would be over and you wouldn't see any painting. So. So dooby doo, dooby dooby doo. Right, okay, right. Dun 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 dun. That's that. Where are we going to go from here? We have a lot of metal work on there, so we're going to reach for my go-to for metal work, especially in this sort of techno steampunk diesel punk kind of stuff. It's not that. Where is it? Is that it? No, that's not it either. Is it? Yeah, there we are. 3 guesses. What paint I am shaking? Can you tell by the sound of it? Actually, not 3 guesses. Have 1 guess. I've got a lot of paint, a lot of metal to paint, and it's me. Some of you guys have been watching for a while. So what am I shaking? What paint is this? It is a wet paint. Got to give you half a point for that. What does that sound like? It's not Basilican Grey. Basilican Grey is not this wet. I feel like you guys haven't been paying attention to my stream at all in the past. Oh dear. It's one of the new ones. One of the newer paints. Does that narrow it down any? Okay, that's beginning to sound a bit filthy. Basilicanum Grey? Trying to think if I've even got any Basilicanum Grey. This is Basilicanum Grey for contrast. See? That's not as wet. Jamie Hall wins the prize. And the prize is cake. There is no cake. The cake is a lie. But thank you for playing. Just trying to clear up some brush. That is the, well, I don't know, it's about as much as the prize as the cake is in Portal. Right. Garagak Sewer. As correctly guessed by Celestar, the Superfan, is my go-to for a lot of metal. This is a number 2 brush. I might have to switch this down to a number 1. because I think this brush is split. Grimdark Sewer is an awesome, awesome colour for going under any kind of metal, especially if that metal's going to be vaguely rusty. And it is also good for wood, if you're looking for a dark wood. And it's also good for leather, if you want a dark leather. You can. It actually dilutes quite well, but I wouldn't suggest using much water with it, because contrast paints, and it is a contrast paint at the end of the day. Contrast paints don't get on particularly well with water. They're one of the few products I would suggest getting the actual Games Workshop medium for them, if you're going to dilute them at all. Get away with a bit of water, but generally you want to get some contrast medium. It's an expensive way of doing things, but it does make a difference. If you add water, it just won't behave like contrast paint anymore. It'll become a bit more like a wash, which might be what you want. But if it's not, and this goes over all the metal. And I'll be doing some bronze, some steel, some kind of rusty. I mean, you can see, there we are. You can see how that's beginning to cure and look rather cool already. Now I think about it, I should really have primed up the death ray that I was going to use, whatever it's called. I don't know what these things are called. I did know. I don't play AdMech. I haven't got the codecs for them. I got them because they looked cool. I did have an idea to play them, and then they released the codecs, and I was like, no. In my humble opinion, the AdMech codex is everything that is wrong with 9th Ed. Exactly, Sarcastic Monkey. Exactly that. Exactly that. I'm here to play a war game. I don't want to have to make use of a spreadsheet to do that. Some people like spreadsheets, and that's cool. You do you. I don't. I like my war games to be about rolling dice and having fun. A little bit of extra complexity here and there is nice. I'm a fan of templates and things. Blast templates and directional armour on vehicles, so that if you manage to get round behind a vehicle, it's got less armour, that sort of thing. So position becomes important. Firing arcs I like as well. But what I don't like is the layering of rules that change other rules, and it's just nah. Not so much a lawyer as an accountant, really. But yeah, that sort of thing. That sort of thing. They're now you understand, when I got back into the hobby, I'd been out of it for ages. I barely knew how to play the game, and dropping that kind of expectation on a brand new player, I might as well have been. No, I'll stick to painting them because they look cool. I might throw the odd unit in as an ally, so I don't have to worry about their chance and noosphere nonsense. But I have no intention or desire to play AdMech as AdMech under 9/3. Oh, some people love them. Yeah, everyone's got their own thing, but I don't enjoy the bookkeeping. I've got to see what they're doing with 10th Ed. If the likes of the League of Votan and things are indicative of the direction of travel, I'm not particularly hopeful. So I'm kind of glad I got into Age of Signal. I love the 40k models, I love the lore, but I've got to say the game at the moment just leaves me a little bit cold. Right. I don't think I'm alone in that either. Hopefully, did everyone fill out that survey that Games Workshop put out a few months ago? I was careful to share my thoughts on that. Not that they will read the thoughts and comments. Those are mainly to keep you happy, to make you feel like you've said your piece. What they'll concentrate on is the multiple choice and draw their own conclusions from that. But I was careful to make sure that I had my say about the direction of travel as I saw it for 40k. I can but hope. I think I hope in vain. That's, I have a feeling Games Workshop aren't particularly interested in narrative style play beyond what they've done with Beyond Crusade, really, unfortunately. Maybe they will, Mick, maybe they will. I'm not holding my breath though. I think their attitude is very much the same as you'll find with MMO developers. They don't really need to look after the quote-unquote role-player community, because the role-player community will look after themselves. All you've got to do is give them a little bit of a toolbox and they'll just crack on. Games Workshop haven't really given us much of a toolbox. Beyond our own imaginations, I suppose, but then I said this a while ago and I still sort of hold with this way of thinking. If you have to change the rules to make a game fun, there's a problem with the rules. I get on with a lot of, say, High Paul's house rules. But, I think if you have to change the rules much more than that, there is a lot of metal on this dude, as one might expect from a being that is slowly replacing all its fleshy weak bits with metal. These mechadendrites are everywhere. Love this miniature. It's just so cool. I haven't got a Belsarius call yet. That is on the list. I don't like the way he's tied to Mars. Let's just say his rules are tied to Mars, so you can only field him as a command unit if you follow the Mars doctrine. And Metalica don't follow the Mars doctrine, or at least not very closely. Yeah, the body horror. They're just Just like they've taken everything John Blanche was trying to do with his artwork and turned it into a range of miniatures. It's very cool. Their vehicles are a bit mishmash, which kind of also works in a weird way. A little bit sort of Jules Verne, a little bit sort of World War II Higgins boat. It's very weird. And then you've got the Castellan robots, which are sort of almost Fallout, diesel punk kind of feel to them. They're very... I mean, I can almost say they don't really fit the aesthetic, but they kind of do, but they don't, but they do. But they kind of don't. I guess I was painting feet, wasn't I? Hammer and Bolter, yeah. Yeah, some of those are good. The AdMech episodes, it's a fair introduction to how the AdMech operate and their general attitude to things. My absolute favourite Hammer and Bolter episode has to be the library one. From start to finish, that's just Grimdark Imperium all over. There will be no reading. Talking is forbidden. Do not think. If you've not got a Warhammer Plus sub, yeah, that's the one, mate. Yeah, if you've not got a Warhammer Plus sub, it's worth it just for a month to watch the Hammer and Bolter. Everything else is a little bit sort of, but Hammer and Bolter is good. Actually, the Angel is the Death one. Death. The Angel of Death cartoon was quite good as well. And the Interrogator one, actually. In fact, yeah, the cartoons they put out are quite good. However, the bat reps and things they do, no, there are better elsewhere. Far, far better. I mean, they're okay if you want to watch a couple of guys playing like they're teaching a 9-year-old how to play in a store. Then yeah, go for it. But it's all a bit sort of fake chummy and saccharine and insincere. Going to run out of metal in a minute, which means we're going to change colour. Well, we're not going to change colour, but I'm going to get a different colour paint out. Library episode was really peak Warhammer. Everything that you could possibly want from the Grimdark far future. I think the first episode is the Commissar Yarrick one from the Orcs perspective, which is fun. It's fun, but don't let it guide your thinking on what the rest of the series is going to be like, because the rest of the series is a lot less silly. God, I wish the Orcs weren't so silly. Which is weird, because the sort of antics that goblins and grots and things get up to, I don't care, because they're kind of supposed to be silly, but the whole sort of comedy English football hooligan feel to the Orcs is just no, just leave it. They are fungal killing machines. They are horrific. I'd much rather them be horrific fungal killing machines than a Millwall fan after 10 points of Stellar Artois. No, don't care about that. Nearly run out of metal. I don't know, maybe it's a British thing. I just don't get on with that ridiculous accent they've given them. Nearly there. It's almost like there's an awful lot of metal in these things. Going to avoid the canister on this guy's back for now. I have to be super careful with this later because I'm going to go in and do all the, I don't know whether you can see, I must have been doing half of that off camera. There's all that, all those fastening bits to do that. But I'm going to do that after I've done the glass and the liquid inside. How are we doing for time? Yeah, okay. So we'll get onto that sooner rather than later, but I want to do kind of want to get some, at least the base colours down on this guy. It is, but there are tricks to it. Keep watching. It is not a trick I've perfected in any way, shape or form, but I can make them make bottles and things look all right. See if I've done it all right. No, that doesn't look right. Looking for an example where there we are. Out of the way. And the bottle on this bottle on the staff there. Right. Metalica's colours are white, but because of the spat they had with Mars, which they lost, they have to have at least part of their uniform as red, Martian red, to reaffirm their allegiance to Mars. So this is Flesh Tearers red, which is probably one of the best reds that Games Workshop do, even with the introduction of Bile Red. This is just, especially for Grimdark stuff, because it's just lovely and just bright and dark at the same time. That's good for blood effects as well. So he's just going to have a red hood. But the rest of his robes are going to be white, which they already are. Tucked in behind that. Well, here we go. Oh, the other thing that tends to be red is the Omniscience axe. The detailing on that later. Sub-assembly. Guns and things. Okay. Okay, I'll show you a trick. Okay, as close as I've got to hand, which is a bit like the weapons you're dealing with. So it's just a bit snipped off sprue. You can do this with polystyrene cement like I'm doing, or superglue works just as well. Find a bit of where the model is going to be connected like that. I would not paint things on the sprue. That is not the way forward. Because then you've got to clip a painted piece off the sprue, which is then going to damage the paintwork. But doing something like this, you leave that to cure, you can paint that, and when it's painted, just clip it off. And that'll also work on the feet of your miniatures if you want to. So I don't want to glue it to a base, you glue that to the foot of the miniature, and you do it that way. Because a lot of people use corks and is that a bit of, yeah, they'll use a cork like yeah, they'll drill a hole in a foot and they'll stick it on the end of a bit of paper clip and put it in a cork like that, and that'll be the sub-assembly painting thing. But then you've got to have a drill and blah blah. This way, bit of plastic, bit of poly cement, done. Yeah, there you go. That's the idea. So you've got those like airbrush clamps, yeah? So yeah, you just clamp that onto the bit of sprue and you can just paint away. Public service announcement. Oh, yeah, that'll work as well. Although I do have a painting handle somewhere. What you can also do, if I can find the painting handle, I'll show you. I use them so often. Going to leap out at me when I stop looking for it. Got one of the old ones, which I suspect is probably the one you're on about with the bending clamp handles, but I've taken the clamps off it. Look at that, does it? Or have you got one of the newer ones with the slimmer? Either way, same mechanism, so. Get your bit of sprue. Job done. And you've got a lot more control over that than one of those silly bendy arms. Not just a pretty face, not even a pretty face, some might say. Right. I am going to reach for don't mind a capitalisation. Don't mind at all, as long as people are getting something out of this. It is all good. Right. Chat is good for the channel. Chat is engagement. We like engagement. So this is, see, there might be a little bit of Flash Terror's red mixed in with this. I think there is. This is Dreadful Visage, which is one of the new contrast paints as well. And I'm just using that for the kind of sickly, not particularly cared for, pallid, what's left of this guy's human skin on his hand here. So that can go there. And there's a few cables and things I'll pick out a bit later. What I really want to get into is do you know what? Somewhere I have a wash bottle like this filled with white spirit, but I do not know where I have put it, which is a problem because I'm about to start using white spirit. So what I'm going to do, I know I have a bottle, an empty thinner bottle somewhere. Is that it? No, that's primer. Sealant, white spirit, there we are. Put some white spirit in there because we're going to start using enamels and oils. Now I'm going to reach for some of that. Now this is just regular cheapo oil paint from Amazon. Nothing special, it's just the oil paint that artists would use if they were painting on canvas. It's not specially formulated. You can get specially formulated oils from suppliers like Abteilung. But Abteilung probably a little bit expensive for what you get. I do like that people are starting to reach for things like Abteilung though, because Abteilung have a lot of their pedigree is in scale modelling. So that's a little bit of burnt umber, and that's ivory black. Yeah, their pedigree is scale modelling, so there's an awful lot of bleed over of techniques and things, particularly in the Grimdark side of things, for realistic weathering and all kinds of stuff. Oops. Oh, so that's sometimes you'll find with oil paints is the linseed comes out. I don't know whether you can see that, that's just linseed oil. So you give it a bit of a squeeze, get all that out, and then the paint will come out, like so. Before we go anywhere near the miniature with that though, we are going to find the gloss varnish. There we go, so that's gloss varnish. I'm going to get a nice old brush like so. I'm going to get a gloss varnish. I'm going to go all over the miniature pretty much. And this has got a lot of people going, what? Unless you've been watching my channel for a while, in which case you know exactly where I'm going with this. The gloss varnish creates a slick surface on the miniature for when I'm applying the next step. Which will be the colour and weathering on the robe. And once we've done that, we're going to hit up the metal bits with some colour. So we're probably going to have some red plates in there. I'll get the mouse pointer out of the way, which you can't see, so it doesn't bother you at all. So I'm probably going to have some red plates put in there. So there's going to be an oil wash on this. And if you're going to use the oil wash technique, it's a good idea to put a layer of varnish down first, which is what I'm doing. I would ordinarily do this through an airbrush, but that would mean getting the airbrush out. Now, once this is dry, which I'm going to use the hairdryer for, and it does need to be properly dry, I have a couple of options for what product I can use next. But we've got the oil out now, so we'll use the oil. And I would highly suggest that I mean, that was just a cheap sort of, I don't know whether it was £5 or £10 for the set. Oils are a nice, fun product to have a play around with on miniatures. You just got to make sure you've got some mineral spirit. Because oils give you an awful lot of time to blend, because they take an absolute age to dry, which is something to keep you aware of when you're using them. Sorry, sorting the brush out. Okay, right. Let's get this guy dried out. Out of the way. Oil paints will live on the palette for quite a while as well. Let's get that out of the way because that will dry out. Hi then. I must go, my people need me. wash. Cheeky oil washes are a staple in the Grimdark style. They really are. Okay, so we've got our burnt umber, burnt senna, and ivory black. So I'm just going to mix a bit of this together. So we get a nice sort of oily colour there. Maybe a little bit more burnt umber, a little bit more burnt senna. Okay, our mineral spirit. Just thin it down a tiny bit. A couple of splodges of that. Just get in there so it flows a bit better. And let's get it on those wonderful white robes. That's a little bit tacky, but it'll be fine. Yeah. Tiny bit more white spirit. Go a bit further. And I'm aiming mainly for the robes here, but it really doesn't matter where else it goes. This is such a fun and satisfying and effective technique. I used to do this an awful lot and then sort of fell out with it for reasons I can't remember. Hey, maybe this will remind me, I don't know. But a lot of my Grimdark stuff has this stage. And it either uses oil paints like this or it uses a product called, yeah, that's it, AK Streaking Grime, which is a really nice weathering product. Which you also need white spirit to deal with because it's an enamel. There we go. Slap that on the red cowl as well. And in there, get that in there. And on that sleeve. All up in there. All up in there. On that skull, nice bit of brown action on the servo skull. So yeah, I'm using the oil paints because they're easy to get hold of. This may or may not be because, well, you may not live near a hobby store, and also it's a Russian product, so anyway. Okay, maybe we won't use that. That is a thing that can happen. Making sure there's a good coverage of this everywhere. And how cool is that white? How cool is that white? But Moog, that's not white. That's brown. Is it? Yes, it is at the moment. But it won't be for long. Because what we're going to do is, if I can find the damn thing. Oh, there's one. There's that lovely rag. Bunch of these things. Again, you can get from Amazon makeup applicators or removers or something to do with makeup. Little sponges, makeup sponges on twizzle sticks. Or you can use Q-tips for this next bit, but Q-tips tend to leave Q-tip everywhere. So I'm just going to get a little bit of that on there. And then all that carefully applied paint, I'm just going to slowly take it off, which will leave the paint in the recesses. Such a simple technique for having some of the right tools for the job. And this just looks oily and greasy and grimdark and exactly what you want. You can even dull down bits of the white there. This is a lens cloth, not microfiber, use it for cleaning your glasses. So it's just literally buffing over the surface. If you want to get a bit of that white back, get a bit of the bit more of the white spirit on there, and that'll take a little bit more of the oil paint off, and you can build up a little bit more of a highlight. So who's going to go and get some oil paints then? What did I say? I said it's good. I said they're good. Oil washes are brilliant. Speed's just experience, mate. It's just experience. Nothing, absolutely nothing inherently skillful about what I'm doing. It's literally doing it because I've practiced it. Let's get some of that brown in there. And the other thing, what you can do with, oh, right, okay, that's the colour that's gone. Let's see if it's darted around it. Oh, there it is. I think, yes, it is. Titanium white. Excellent. No, don't back out. Get yourself some oils. Play around with them. They're good fun. You can do things with them. Especially if you like your Grimdark. You can, you can, you can. Right, okay, so this is your titanium white. Again, oil. A little bit of that on there. Right, Grimdark's all about the light and dark contrasts, so we go in with that. A little bit of white on there. White at the top there. And it just blends. It's just crazy how good this stuff is. It just instant blending. I need some actual paint. I don't need to be on a pedestal. Whole point of me doing what I do on camera is to show people that there is nothing at all to be scared of in this hobby. Nothing. And it is all, quote unquote, reasonably simple techniques. Once you know what you're doing, and once you sort of know the techniques, you can sort of because we've got our base layer of brown there, a quick once over with the brush with the white, just blends everything seamlessly together.
The kind of music men hum or whistle when they feel on top of the world.
You don't want to do too much of this, otherwise the robes still go back to looking white rather than this sort of mucky off white, and you lose all that effect. But for working your highlights back in, it's just, yeah. And oils will just let you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until you've got exactly the right colour that you want. Yeah, starting to look the part, isn't it? And you've still got loads of grime and grot left in the recesses that looks like oil and stains and all that good stuff. I maintain that these guys don't really care about their robes. I mean, why would they? See, I was just going in with the dirt around the rim of the robe. I just pulled a little bit of that paint out of the recess there, and I'm just dabbing it on around the rim of the robe, and it's just looks like grime. There's another bit there I can pull out and start dabbing around the rim of the robe. If I can actually get into that streaking grime now, let's give it another go. There we go. Nice rust streaks. Close but no cigar. Oh, that'll do actually. That'll do. That'll do. This is the same sort of stuff, but a different colour. So we'll just get a bit of that out. Just hit up around the base of the robes. And we're also going to go for... Wait, do not put this in your mouth. Bit of oil and grease. See, I didn't want to get too busy with the specialist products. You can reproduce this with a load of the mineral spirits and oil. It's just a wash, just an enamel oil wash. Streaking grime is a fantastic product. A lot of people call it Grimdark in a bottle, and not without reason. So I just want to get some of this around the metal areas. Right, let's get this a little bit dried up. Although with it being oil, it is going to take overnight at least to properly dry, which is one of the weaknesses for oil, but it's also the strength, because whilst it's wet you can blend, and you can spend ages and ages and ages getting the blend just right, the way you want it. Why more people don't use oil paints just to paint their miniatures as standard, I really do not know. Still a bit wet there, but it doesn't matter. It don't matter, because we're actually looking for a dirty paint job here anyway, so we'll just crack on. Okay, I'm going to turn our attention now. What are we looking like on time? Half an hour. Okay, let's see what we can do. I never know what this is supposed to be in these thingies on these bottles and things, so it's a bit hard to know what colour they're supposed to be, but if in doubt, a nice glowing sickly green is usually a good starting point. You can also get this sickly green going with the oil paints as well, like so. Problem with glowing green goo is it can start to read as a little bit sort of nurgle, but we're not going to worry too much about that. because I think the rest of him doesn't particularly read as an angle. The good thing about this is you get that glowing effect going on, and you don't need to worry about too much about the cage holding the bottle. It starts to look like reflected light. Okay, so where's he standing? Where's that line? Key to a decent bottle effect is getting the level right, so that it looks like a liquid inside. You'll notice you can see what I'm doing. You can't really see what I'm doing. You'll see what I'm doing when I put the rattling grime in. So we've got our glowing green goop. And now we're going to reach for the rattling grime contrast paint. Now we're going to be super careful with this, because this is where we start to make the thing look like a glass bottle with liquid in it. By creating that horizon line. So this does require a bit of practice and brush control. I won't try and make out that this is simple, because it's not. Not that I'm trying to big myself up, because I would never do that. But this does require a little bit of brush control, so you get that straight line going on. That's not to say be afraid of it, absolutely don't. But that straight line is key to selling the effect, so it's bears a bit of practice to get it right. So now it starts to look a bit more like liquid in glass rather than copper canisters, which is what we're after. What I am going to do though is with a bit of pure white, let's just emphasise that line a little bit. And get some sense of reflection on the glass as well. See what I mean? Again, this can be a bit of a trial and error kind of process, but generally you want the single light point or a small light point at the darkest point of the transparent thing, and you want things tending to get lighter towards the other side so it looks like the light's going through a translucent liquid or a gem or whatever you're doing. And that's kind of what you end up with. And now practice, monkey, practice. Seriously. I mean, okay, some people have neurological problems and they can't keep their hands steady. I understand that, and if that's the case with you, then that's the case with you. You're gonna have to paint around that. But mostly it is just practice. Yeah, you could do that. You could actually absolutely get some object source lighting going on around the top of the armor there, but we're not quite there yet because we've got to put the metallic paint on there. But yeah, absolutely, there would be reflected light and all sorts going on. For now, I'm going to reach for that's Leviathan blue. That's not the blue I'm after. There it is. Talisar blue. Yeah, glasses help. Also getting a good steady grip as well. You want to be holding the brush as close to the ferrule as you can. Make sure you got a good brace against the table. I can't really show you what I'm doing, but you do brace against the table and keep everything as still as possible. If you've got a good brace and it's sort of the miniatures are not going anywhere, you're going to be a lot more steady. If you're trying to paint like that, you're not going to be steady at all. And that, Grandma, is how you suck eggs. And this is just Talisar blue over white. Just dab your finger on the end there and it brings back that glowing effect. Just leaves the suggestion of a blue lens there. For the other one we're going to use Doomfire Magenta. Extra spot colour there. Perfect. A little bit of white. So I'm nice and braced. Got some glowing eyes going on there. I think it's time we got some metallic paint going on here. Reach for another brush. I think what we're going to do here is use some of the colours I don't tend to use very often, but do lend themselves very well to AdMech. This is a game colour from Vallejo. And this is a brassy brass. Going to put a little bit of this on the trim. What's my take on that? I think that's probably over egging the pudding a little bit. You really don't need super fine brushes. I mean, I've got that, which I've used for tiny little working in bits there, but generally you can get a lot done with a 1 or even a 0. You don't need a super fine thing. I find it's generally better practice to do as much with as large a brush as you can possibly manage. All you're going to make sure is it comes to a point. That's all you need to worry about, really. Oops, can't see what I'm doing there. You can't, I can. But if you can't, then why am I streaming? A bit of both. What you'll find with the larger brushes is that you can paint for longer and you get more control, because the brush itself can hold more paint. So as long as you get the consistency right, you can actually paint for longer with a larger brush, rather than having to keep dipping into the paint each time. And a lot of the time you're going to be using the side of the brush, or rather than the very tip. I mean, a lot of this I'm using the side of the tip, I suppose. If you go in with the very tip of a brush, you're going to end up hooking the top, which isn't going to do you much good in the long run. So I'm just going in and adding little suggestions of metal over the Garagak sewer, and this is why I use the Garagak sewer, because it just lends itself to that grimy metal effect and just sells the rest of it being metal as well. I think what I might do is save a bit of time by going in with a dry brush now. I did want to get the edging in. Because it's that sort of deep brown colour, you end up with the edge of the armour where I've gone in with the brassy brass, but the rest of the armour kind of looks like a really, really deep patina on bronze. And we can sell that effect even further with one of the Games Workshop Effects paints, which I will reach for in a moment. But not quite yet. We're going to do something else first. We are going to get some of the silver colours done first. For that, we're going to use Old Faithful Duraluminium from Vallejo. And we're going to get a nice, soft, but ever so slightly screwed up brush. This is a 0, and I use this for this sort of purpose a lot because the brush is just gone. There's no tip coming back on that. It's an old cheapy brush. Yeah, that's always a concern. Don't worry about the brands. I just use what I've got. I just happen to have bought a wide variety of products that, because I was testing things out. Don't just use what you've got, seriously. But this stuff, because it's formulated for airbrushes, works really well through an airbrush, and it's also got really fine mica fragments in it, so it won't gum your brush up so much, and it'll flow really nicely as well. So it's a generally good all-round metallic paint. That, so if you take one thing away for metals, get some of this duraluminum. Dry brushing some silver duraluminum over to get the extra bits of metal out, the bits that aren't bronze, but still with that brown underneath, it looks grimy and entirely what we're looking for with the Grimdark. Some Mechadendrites done in as well. Yeah, when I came back into the hobby, I got myself rather foolishly a really big box of Army Painter paints. I think the Mega Set, I think it's called, and I probably shouldn't have done because it's an awful lot of money up front, and there's still a fair chunk of those paints I just do not use. So I'm just going over the metallic bits with a very light dry brush of this duraluminum, just to give a sense of metal, but not blocking it in, so it still looks dark and corroded, but reads as metal. Yeah, there's a silver on there. I love doing metals by dry brushing. It just looks so good, and it's such a simple technique. Okay, it's got a couple bits of extra little bits to do. ready for the table. No, because I've used the oil. There will be very little to get. Maybe on some of the maybe on some of the metallic bits I could dull that down a bit, but not on all over brown sauce. No. Again with the one, but I'm doing detail work here. So there you go. I mean, you don't need a tiny brush to do detail work on the miniature at all. You just a bit of extra care. Use the side of the brush rather than the tip, which gives you a bit more control, weirdly. Just spot the See you, monkey. Thanks for dropping by. Hope you picked up some useful tips. Just going to give that a quick spritz with gold around the edge there, because the Omnis iron axes tend to have this gold cog on them. Yeah, the spot highlights on the glass is what sells it. It doesn't look like glass at all with the without that spot here and there on the streaks. And then the other thing you can do is, but I'm not going to do it yet because these the white spots on here are oil and they're not dry yet. But once they're dry and cured, you go over the glass with gloss varnish like that. And you'll get that shine as well, and it'll really sell as glass. Right, okay, so I need to do something with the stick and the. Actually, no, I'm okay with the. I'm okay with the haft of the axe being white because that's the colours of Metalica. I am, however, going to get a bit more of that oil worked in to that haft, so it looks good and grimy. Bit more of that bronze going on just to hit up the highlights. Around the machinery on this guy's back. So the trim just looks like it's been where the the pattern has been worn away from the dark bronze. And then this is also a really nice technical paint. But no, I like oxides, but go sparingly with it. Because if we're selling this as bronze, there's going to be a little bit of verdigris going on. So just where moisture might collect, tiny bit of this. I wouldn't want to use too much rust necessarily on an AdMech miniature, because they take care of their machines, but a little bit of verdigris on their bronze or copper alloy bits can really help sell that Grimdark aged look. And you're always going to get a little bit of corrosion on electrical contacts and things as well, particularly. So it's really subtle, but it just adds that extra little bit of colour and interest to the miniature. And helps it read as bronze. What's that doing there? Nothing, that's what that's doing there. What this also does is it just ties it in a really, really subtle way to the there it is, the oxide base I've done for him. Oh, missed a bit. That's what I got that gold out for, wasn't it? I'll do it with bronze instead. I might use a bit of the brown sauce on this bit, because I forgot completely about this bit. I don't know why I did. Oops, not on camera. Some sort of exhaust manifold or ungent dispenser or something like that. It's some sort of probably electro prod on the end of a mechadendrite. So that's okay being a coppery colour. Where did I put that purple? There it is. I think, what am I going to do with this star? Red, I think. So We're going over a bit here, more than I normally stream for, but I'm kind of getting into it now and I want to get him done. So, a little Brucey bonus. Definitely getting your money's worth tonight. Splash jar is red again. It's got this weird sort of Tesla coil thing going on here, which is probably made of copper or something equally conductive for bonking people on the heads with. I've got the brass out, I'll do this, the cap of his cane as well. And that. He's got something going on the end of his finger there, so I think he's probably got a copper contact for shoving in computers. Maybe get a bit of copper colour around there as well.
I mean the kind of music men hum or whistle when they feel on top of the world. And gentlemen, one of the many things that give you that tip-top feeling is the pleasure of being well dressed. The kind of music men hum or whistle when they feel on top of the world.
We completely give up on this guy and stick him to his base and call him more or less done. There's probably a little bit of dark mech. Legit, no. It would be pretty much the same. Maybe not with the red because that's Mars. But there's not going to be much to choose between them there. Maybe darken them down a little bit, but I mean they're much of a muchness. Dark mech and AdMech. They look very similar. The symbology a bit different, obviously, but this is a bit of ball red going on here. There's a bit of a highlight. Your dark mech tend to be a bit spikier. But in terms of paint job, they're going to be fairly similar. Okay. So I am going to use a bit of brown sauce. Pop it over there in the corner. A bit of brown sauce will go on that. Apologise if that just blew out into the microphone. I just saw a cat hair. Go away, cat hair. The brown sauce, just to get a bit of extra contrast into the silvery metally bits, steel metal bits. There's probably something exciting I could do with that gun. There's a bit of white that needs covering up. In fact, that was that copper colour, wasn't it? I don't think it was. I think it was gold. But yeah, whatever. It's copper now. Okay. For now, what remains to be done thank you very much for sticking it out, Nerd Storyteller. Absolute trooper. What remains to be done is I need to stick this guy to the base. Using super glue because
Always fun to catch one live.
what? Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I wondered what that was. I thought Alexa was kicking off. Of course, I've spoken her name now. Now she will. Very much, that's super nice of you. A few extra spots of this around just to make sure it is. Cool. Super glue accelerant. And but for some decals and some tiny little details here and there, oh Christ, he says, I think I could just keep picking away at this all night, but I can't. Yeah, so but for a few decals here and there. I've printed off on decal paper a whole load of the Metalica ones. So but for the odd decal here and there, and I think he's pretty much done. I'm probably going to do a little bit of detailing on the cabling, so there's a bit more interest there. Get a bit more, bring the highlights up on the metal a little bit more, but I think he's pretty much done. I think he's done. Got to get the gloss on there as well. So yeah, that's 2.5 hours. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Get them posted up on my Discord. I want to see those all up, boys. Yeah. So I'm going to leave that there. Thanks very much for dropping by. Thanks for sticking it out. Yeah, like I said, there's a few little bits that I want to pick away at, but I think he's basically done. I'm going to stick him up on Instagram as is. What I will probably end up doing is there's ever such a slight shiny sheen on the oil paints. So what I will use to knock that right back is this, which is it pulls no punches. This is a very, very nice matte varnish. It will take the shine off anything. So that's what I'll do with that. Yeah, that's done. And I will need to go to bed because I've got to get up early in the morning. So thanks awfully for dropping by, guys. I hope it's been useful. Hope you've enjoyed yourself. If you're not subscribed and you've got this far, why haven't you subscribed? Don't forget to like and comment. Do all that good stuff. It helps support the channel and helps feed my content to other people who haven't seen it already. Not that people watch long format content anyway, generally. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. And I will see you in the next one. Ta-ta for now, I guess. Ta-ta.